In this video, we're talking about the cost of living in Austin, Texas. Housing, taxes, food, utilities, and make sure you stay till the end because I'm going to give you 3 tips to save money when you move to Austin. Stay tuned because we're getting started right now. In this channel, I do videos every week about what it's like to live, eat, sleep, work, play, and love your life in Austin, Texas. So if that's the information that you want, go ahead and hit the subscribe button and ding that little bell so you're notified every time we put out a new video. Every day, I've got people calling me from all around the world who are moving to Austin or the Central Texas area like Round Rock, Georgetown, Cedar Park, San Antonio, and I absolutely love it. If you're thinking about moving to Austin, go ahead and send me an email, shoot me a text, slide into my DMs, or send up smoke signals, however you want to get in touch with me. I've got your back when you're moving to Austin. So every day, over 100 people are moving to Austin, whether they're coming down for the food, the vibe, or the jobs. We've got everything from huge corporations like Dell and Samsung to startups and independent companies. Whatever the reason they're moving here, they're coming and people love it. So let's get straight into it. Austin's cost of living is about 19% higher than the national average, and the number one factor that makes it higher is housing. The average home price in the city of Austin is $407,000. That's for June of 2020. So if you're watching this at a later time, go ahead and shoot me a comment below and I'll tell you what the average price is then. For the greater Austin Round Rock metro area, the average sale price is $340,000. So let's talk about what you're gonna get for the average home price in Austin. Let's say you wanna stick around the average of $340,000, $350,000. That was the average for the greater Austin Round Rock area. So for that price, you're gonna wanna stick in areas like Round Rock, Cedar Park, Georgetown, Leander, Liberty Hill, more like the suburbs around Austin, not so much in the city of Austin. So what does a price tag of $350,000 get you in those areas? So in Round Rock for $350,000, the house that you're probably gonna get was built in around the 90s, the late 90s to the 2000s, probably 3 to 4 bedrooms and 2 baths and about 2,000 to 2,200 square feet. It's gonna have a 2-car garage and probably updates like wood flooring, granite countertops, things like that. A small yard, so pretty low maintenance, and is most likely gonna be in a neighborhood that's like a big planned community where you've got parks and playgrounds and pools and may even have a school tucked into the neighborhood. So let's say we wanna buy a house for the average sale price in the city of Austin, around that $410,000 price point. What does that look like? So for that price, you're probably gonna get a house that was built around the 60s or the 70s, more of a 1-story ranch style home, probably 3 bedrooms, 1 to 1.5 baths. If it does have any kind of parking, it's probably just a 1-car carport or garage. And maybe that garage has been converted to an office or a bedroom or a cool lounge area. It's gonna be much smaller than the houses in Round Rock, so more like 1,100, 1,200 square feet. And probably gonna have fresh paint, a few updates to the kitchen or the bathroom, but it's still gonna need a little bit of work once you move into it. So let's run the numbers and see what a monthly payment would look like if we buy that house for $350,000 in Round Rock. So we're buying it for $350,000. We're gonna put down 5%, which is gonna be $17,500. Interest rates are super low right now, so we're gonna plan on 3% interest rate. A 30-year mortgage, and because we're not putting down 20%, we're probably gonna have some mortgage insurance. So let's plan on 0.5% mortgage insurance. And we're gonna plan that you've got good credit. So anywhere between 620 to 720 for your credit score. So let's break down what goes into your total monthly mortgage payment. Only a portion of that is gonna be your actual mortgage, meaning your principal and your interest, the amount that you're paying to actually buy the house. So that part of your payment is gonna be $1,402. Your mortgage insurance is gonna be about $139. You can plan on your homeowner's dues being about $35 to $40 a month, and your homeowner's insurance is gonna be about $100. And then we come to the biggest surprise, which hits everyone on the side of the head when they buy a house in Austin, whether they live here or they're moving here from someone else, and that is our property taxes. So in Texas, we don't have personal income tax. Instead, we have property taxes and sales tax. And the property taxes in Austin are pretty high. So they're gonna run you anywhere from 1.5% to 5%. This is going to add a really big chunk to your monthly payment, so it's something that you really need to be aware of. If you're trying to plug in your monthly expenses to any of the online mortgage calculators, they're going to significantly underestimate the amount of property taxes that you're going to pay, and so your monthly payment estimate is going to be totally off. So back to the example that we're talking about, the home that we're buying in Round Rock for $350. Your taxes for the year for this home are going to be $8,000. So that breaks down to a monthly addition of $666 to your monthly payments. So your total monthly payments are going to be about $2,342, and that is your principal and your interest, the actual mortgage that you're paying for your house, your homeowners association, your homeowners insurance, and your taxes. So maybe you're not quite ready to buy in Austin yet, or you want to kind of feel the neighborhoods out and get your bearings before you put down your roots and buy a home. The good news is that pretty much anywhere you can buy a home, you can also rent a home. There's a big variety in housing options, anywhere from condos to single-story ranch homes to homes in the plain neighborhoods. Anywhere where there's a house to buy, there's a house to rent. So let's look at what the average prices are going to be to rent in Austin. So you can see in this chart the rental rates for the city of Austin versus the Austin metro Round Rock area. The city of Austin is going to be a few $100s more expensive than the Austin Round Rock metro area. So for a 3-bedroom, we're looking about an average of $1,700 to $1,900 a month to rent. And for 4-bedroom, more like $2,100 to $2,300 in the city of Austin. So in that Round Rock metro area, it's just going to be a few $100s cheaper. Keep in mind, these are the averages, so you're definitely going to be able to find homes that are more expensive, a little bit more extravagant. You're also going to be able to find homes that are a little bit cheaper, not too much cheaper than that, but there are some on the lower side from the estimates in this chart. So we've gone into a lot of detail on the cost of living for housing in Austin, because that's going to be probably your biggest expense when you move here. We talked about Texas not having any state income taxes, but it does have sales tax and property tax. We talked about the property taxes for sure, but let's go ahead and talk about the sales tax real quick. So the sales tax in Austin is going to be 8.25%. So figure for every $100 you spend, you're going to spend an extra $8.25 in taxes. Texas does have a tax-free weekend every year, so it's towards the end of the summer, right before school starts, and you can pretty much buy any kind of clothes, shoes, backpack, or school supplies tax-free, as long as the item that you're buying is under $100. So if you've got kids, then you know exactly when this weekend is every year. If you don't have kids, find out when that weekend is now and put it on your calendar. I made the mistake of wandering into a Target on tax-free weekend and I almost died. It was like Black Friday all over again. I had PTSD from it. It was horrible. So now I know exactly when it is every year. Do not make the same mistake that I did. So now let's talk about all the stuff inside your home. As far as utilities go, Austin is pretty on par with the national average. We come in a little bit lower on some factors. So I'm just going to talk about my personal experience. You can kind of figure out where you're at in comparison. So for garbage, sewage, and water, for my house, we pay about $85 a month for that. And we do have gas. My husband and I love to cook, and so having a gas stovetop and oven was like a #1 must-have when we moved here. We moved here like 8 years ago. So our gas bill is like $25 a month. So for electric, our electric bill is about $115 a month, and that was in June when it's really hot here. Something you should know about me and my electric bill, we like to keep our AC around 75 during the summer. So if you like to keep it much cooler than that, like my husband's mom liked to keep it at 70 degrees all year round, and she would just like freeze me out when I go to her house. I'm walking around in like a hoodie and my wool socks and a blanket in the middle of July. So if that's you, your electric bill is probably going to be more like $150 a month instead of $115. All right, so we've covered housing expenses, utilities, bills, all that adulting stuff. Now let's talk about something really important, food and drink. Austin is a huge foodie town, and we've got everything here that you could possibly want. Whether you love pizza or sushi or barbecue, oh my God, we got the best barbecue. But if you are dairy-free, gluten-free, vegan, vegetarian, whatever it is, there's food here for you. I promise you that. Let's talk about how much that's gonna cost. So if you wanna have a pretty decent meal and a drink, and by drink, I mean adult beverage, for 2 people, plan on spending about $60. So that's gonna be your out the door costs, planning on each entree being about $13, each drink being about $10, and then you add tax and tip on top of that. So if you've got kids and they're gonna get like an appetizer and a soda and maybe dessert, plan on spending around $90 to $100 if you've got 2 adults and 2 kids. Of course, you can get really good food for much cheaper. So if you're just in the mood for a really, really good burger and a PBR, you can do that for like 10 bucks. And if you want to have an amazing meal, like the most awesome meal of your life, you can totally do that here too and spend a few $100. If you plan on cooking at home rather than going out, obviously you're gonna save a lot more money. The cost of living for groceries in Austin is pretty much on par with the national average, even a little bit lower in some areas, depending on where you shop. We've got all the big name grocery stores here. So Target, Walmart, Costco, the organic stores like Trader Joe's, Central Market, and Natural Grocers. Our big regional grocery store here is called H-E-B. It actually started in San Antonio, and you can't like throw a rock without hitting one. They're literally everywhere. So you're gonna have an H-E-B in your neighborhood. I promise you that. Something else that you may not know about Austin is that Whole Foods actually started here. So the original and the flagship Whole Food store is downtown. It's at Lamar and Fifth, and it's like a theme park in there. It's so awesome. Before I moved to Austin, I would come down and travel for work, and I always made like a pilgrimage to that Whole Foods and just walk in and get lost in like the chocolates and the pastries and the beer aisles. It's awesome. It's so much fun. So there's literally like 7 Whole Foods in the Austin area. And when I mention it depends on where you shop for groceries, that's what I mean. You can go to H-E-B and get some really good produce, or you can go to Whole Foods and get the same produce that's organic and you get to meet the farmer and this and that, and it's going to be more expensive. But the good news is that if you're an Amazon Prime member, you also get discounts at Whole Foods and special deals, stuff like that. So, you just kind of have to look out for deals and everything, but definitely have some awesome grocery stores. If you're looking to save money and cook at home, a lot of different options for you. Let's talk about something really serious for a second. Beer. Austin's craft beer scene has been exploding over the past few years. We've got over 60 breweries in the Austin area. Some of them are out in this gorgeous setting out in Texas Hill Country. Some other ones are set in industrial spaces, others are in retail areas. Just all around the city you can find really good beer. And the good news is that the cost of this beer is pretty much the average of the cost of beer everywhere in the nation. Obviously depending on the style of beer, some is going to be more expensive than others, but 2 of my favorite beers are about $4 for a pint or an imperial pint, 18 to 20 ounces. They're both super clean, crisp, refreshing, just awesome to drink on a hot summer day. One is down on South Congress at a brewery called St. Elmo's Brewing. The beer is called Carl. It's a Kolsch. It's just delicious, but for $4 you're gonna get 16 to 18 ounces of just really awesome, refreshing beer. And my other favorite is from Live Oak Brewing. It's right next to the airport. It's one of Austin's oldest breweries. Their traditional Pilsner is called Pils. Again, it's going to be about 18 ounces, $4, just a delicious beer, a typical Austin beer that you're going to have on a patio, under some trees, and just enjoy life in Austin. So we can't talk about the cookies and the chocolate at Whole Foods and the 60-odd breweries that we have in Austin without talking about healthcare costs. The good news is that the cost of healthcare in Austin is actually about 94% what it is on the national average. So if you're coming from somewhere that has higher healthcare costs, like West Des Moines, Iowa, this is definitely going to be a big savings for you. So that's a pretty high level overview of the cost of living in Austin, Texas. Overall, the cost is about 19% above the national average, but the majority of that cost is due to high housing costs. Everything else in Austin, your utilities, groceries, gas, transportation, everything else is either at or just below the national average. For folks that are moving out here from more expensive areas like California or New York or Denver, you're definitely going to get more bang for your buck on housing in Austin, and you're going to spend less on everyday stuff. The awesome thing about living in Austin is that there's something for everyone, no matter what your lifestyle is. There's so many different neighborhoods and pockets and areas to live in Austin. You just have to find the one that's right for you. And when you are moving to Austin, here are 3 tips to help you save money on your move. 1, pack your stuff yourself. Yes, you want to hire movers to do all the heavy lifting and get the stuff from your house to the truck, but as far as actually packing your stuff in boxes, you can save a lot of money by doing this yourself. Use blankets and sheets to wrap up fragile items, and pull out those old magazines that are on your bookshelves, rip out the pages and use those to pack your glasses and your dishes, things like that. And you can get free moving boxes from totally unexpected places like university mailrooms if you live in a college town, at your office, liquor stores, even Craigslist. Tip number 2 is to move in the winter, move in the middle of the week, or the middle of the month. These are off-peak times, so you should be able to negotiate a good rate with your moving company. Tip number 3, weight is money. So if you've got things like weights, kettlebells, sandbags, pack them in your own car and drive them to your new home instead of putting them on your moving truck. I talk to people every day who are moving to Austin, and it puts a big old smile on my face. I absolutely love it. Austin has so many awesome neighborhoods. I'm here to help you find the right one so that you can start living and loving your Austin life. So you're not sitting in traffic for an hour when you'd rather be at your neighborhood brewery or chowing down on some awesome noodles. The only way I can do that, you've got to give me a call. Send me an email, shoot me a text, slide into my DMs, or send up smoke signals. However you want to get in touch with me, I've got your back when you're moving to Austin. You're going to see a bunch of videos start popping up on the screen. Go ahead and click on those, watch them so you can start learning everything there is to know about living, working, playing, sleeping, eating, breathing, and just loving your life in Austin, Texas.